climate. On this map, we can see different types of climate in East Asia. This blue color region indicates continental mid-latitude climate. Because of northerly location, these areas have short but hot summer, long cold winters. And during the summer, they receive summer monsoon rain. During winter, they have occasional snows. But this place, the west coast of Japan, they receive a lot of snows because when the harsh winter monsoon rain wind blow over the Sea of Japan, it was modified to pick up a lot of moistures and dump those moistures on the west coast of Japan. So west coast of Japan and Hokkaido Island here receive a lot of snow during the winter. Here we move to the south, come to the green color region. Humid subtropical climate. Here you have a hot summer and winter is not as hot, so mild winters. And during all seasons, you have a plentiful precipitation in those regions. So conditions are conducive for rice growing. And this is a major region in East Asia where you see rice is a major crop. Now you move to here to the north. In northwest China, Inner Mongolia also includes Mongolia as well, mid-latitude steppe and desert. This location is far away from the ocean, far away from the source of water. So when the monsoon wind eventually arrive in those areas, it becomes really weak and have lost all the moisture. So those places very dry places. Without irrigation, without underground water, you really have a hard time to develop crop growing agriculture. Here in Tibetan Plateau, what you have here is highland climate. The temperature and the precipitation vary with elevations. In East Asia, there are a few places which have tropical climate. In this place and this place, they have a tropical rainforest. The rain is pretty plentiful throughout the year. But for this place, it has tropical savanna climate. So you have alternate dry and wet seasons in this place. Here, in the context of China, I'd like to point out two very important geographical lines. One is the 15-inch ISA height. An ISA height is a line that connects all the points that have same amount of precipitation. The 15-inch ISA height connects all the line, all the points with 15-inch precipitation. This is a line that divides China into two halves. To the eastern half, you can have rain-fed farming. You can rely upon precipitation for agriculture, assisted by irrigation in some places. To the west of this line, there's no sufficient precipitation for crop growing. So what you can do is raising animals. Another important line is the Qinling Mountain and the Huaihe River line around this area. You have here a mountain called the Qinling Mountain. You have a river here called Huaihe River. Together they form this line. This line divides eastern China into North China and South China. In the south of this line, you have ample precipitation and sufficient heat for double cropping in rice farming. So you can grow rice twice a year in South China. to the north of this line, not enough natural precipitation for double rice cropping. Also, temperature is low down the winter. You cannot grow rice anymore. So the main crops here is the wheat, corn, and some yams. This map shows agricultural regions in China. Here, obviously, in eastern half of China, you see rain-fed agriculture. In the west, mostly animal raising, except in those desert areas, they receive waters from high mountains. Mountains, you have melting snow, melting ice. Those become the source of water, and then you can develop oasis agriculture. Major environmental issues. Let's focus on two river basins in China to talk about the major environmental issues. First, let's take a look at the Yellow River. The Yellow River is called China's sorrow. We have talked about the Yellow River, the middle ridge run through the Earth plateau and carry a lot of silt and sediment and deposit those silt and sediment in the lower ridges to forming North China Plain. Now, when the river water carry a lot of silt and sediment flowing from the Earth plateau into the plain area, the speed of water flow become all of a sudden very slow. So very quickly those silt and sediment build up on the plain and they build on the bottom of the water, bottom of the river. So the bottom of the river can push up higher very quickly to retain the water within the river channel. You have to build those river banks even higher. So this is kind of it keeps going. When the bottom of river become higher, they try to build this river bank even higher. So over time, you see what we call the sky river. That is, the bottom of the river become higher than the land in the land that surround the river. That create a very dangerous situation. If the river breaks the bank, you're going to have very severe flooding problem. And this kind of flood occurred very frequently in the history of China. So every time when you have a major flooding, there's also a possibility that the Yellow River may change the course running into the ocean. On this map, you see different courses during the historical time through which the Yellow River run to the ocean. Every time when that happens, you can imagine this catastrophic flooding problem occurred around the river basin. This is a region with very high population density, and every time when you have a flood, just many people drowned and destroyed the crop land and destroyed community, causing huge amount of loss to this region. And that's not the only problem. This area, as we mentioned before, is semi-arid region of China. So during the springtime, when farmers put the seeds in the land, they're waiting for the monsoon rain to come. But if monsoon rain come late, when you have a drought, all the crops will die, cause big losses. So, but eventually, when the monsoon rain comes, it comes very quickly, and it comes down very intensely and heavily, and cause flooding problem. In addition, in a semi-arid region, you would develop agriculture relying upon irrigation. the strong evaporation of water will bring the minerals to the surface soils, eventually will kill the crops. So thus salinity will develop in the agricultural land, degrade the land quality. So this is a region in China. You have several major problems. You have a drought, you have a flooding problem, also you have a land salinity. And that's why this part of China economically is not very developed, because the land quality is not very high. That is exactly why the Yellow River is called China's sorrow. So the Yellow River gave rise to agriculture, gave rise to the plain, gave rise to the ancient Chinese civilization, but at the same time it also takes away so many lives, take away so much the crop land, and cause damages to the community. So that is exactly, this is a kind of a problem facing agriculture in North China. Another river basin, the Yangtze River Basin, also has some very controversial issues. The most important is the Three Gorges Dam issue. The Three Gorges Dam was built here. This is the world's largest dam, which was completed in 2009. The main purposes of the Three Gorges Dam is to control flood and generate hydroelectricity. The problem is that after you build a dam here, you inundate many important historical sites and tourist attractions. As you can see on this photograph, those are extremely beautiful sceneries, and those places have attracted people across China since ancient times. But now all these places have become underwater as a result of this Three Gorges Dam. Also, you have millions of people are forced to relocate to find new place to make a living, and many people have very hard time to start over again at a new place. This new dam was built, trapped a lot of silt and sediment behind the dam, and over time, when those silt and sediment build high enough, they will render this dam useless. You cannot get those sediment out behind the dam. Also, a lot of pollutions also enter the water to pollute reservoirs behind the dam. It also disrupts the ecological habitat of many precious species that rely upon the Yangtze River. For example, this freshwater dolphin living in the Yangtze River totally disrupt their habitat. Power generation. After this dam was built, the water in the Yangtze Valley actually is not as high as normal. So it did not really generate did not generate the amount of hydroelectricity as expected. At the same time, it triggered a lot of earthquakes and landslides in this region. Also, this dam really cannot help control the flood problem in the lower and in the central and the lower ridges of the river. In addition, with damming on this side, you really reduce the water supply for the lower ridges, and there are several major lakes in this region. Now those lakes are shrinking in size. So this is a controversial project when the Chinese government trying to make assessment of this project before they start building it. Many scientists and engineers strongly object to this project due to these ecological and economic concerns. but the Chinese leaders decided to go ahead with the project anyway. So even today, after all these problems occurred, the Chinese leader still want to keep quiet about this. Do not allow those problems to be openly discussed in the public media. So this is a very politically sensitive issue in China. There are some other environmental issues in East China. One is the problem of deforestation. It's similar to many other places with long civilization. Many East Asian countries also face a problem of deforestation because people have populated the land for a long period of time. Here in those areas of China and Korea still suffer the problem of deforestation. One exception is Japan. Japan is a country that have this religion, Shintoism. Shintoism is a kind of a nature worship, and nature is sacred to Shintoism. So since ancient times, they have this policy to protect nature, protect their forest. Japan has the highest forest coverage among all developed countries. On this map, you can really see that this is the problem we talked about early on, the controversial three gorges dams. Also, you have erosion in the Loess Plateau area. Also, pollution is a problem in Asia, in East Asia. Historically, pollution is a very serious problem in Japan, especially in the 1960s and 1970s. And this is a very famous Minamata disease. That is mercury poisoning. Mercury accumulates in the water and in a fish, and then human consume fish and eventually poisoned by mercury, and causes a very disfigure in children. And the problem now have switched from Japan to those more recently industrializing countries, such as China. And you can really see the pollution, the air pollution in Beijing here extremely severe. But China seems to have this attitude that development is more important than environmental quality. But last 2 or 3 years, there are a few episodes of very severe air pollution in some major cities in China. Since then, the attitude in China seems to begin to change, and they have designed policies try to significantly improve the air quality in China, especially in some major cities. In summary, in this lecture, we have discussed some major aspects of physical geography of East China. We have discussed landforms. We see that there are plains in the east and the plateaus and the basins and the mountains in the west in the context of China. And in peninsulas and in islands, we see some major mountains form backbone of the peninsula and islands. Also, we discussed two major rivers in East Asia, the Huanghe and Yangtze rivers. In terms of climate, we see that most of the East Asia, we see the temperate and the tropical, subtropical climate. In terms of major environmental issues, we mainly focus on the Yellow River and the three gorges dams in the Yangtze River basin. Also, we talk about the deforestation and the air pollution and the pollution problems in East Asia. Thank you very much. I'll see you next time. Goodbye.